Well, our big focus remains Jagdeep Dhankhar's sudden resignation. BJP MP Nishikant Dubey jibed at the opposition after Congress MP Jairam Ramesh claimed that there was more to Jagdeep Dhankhar's unexpected resignation as Vice President, implying that the opposition was being dramatic. In fact, we are trying to line up a reaction we've just got from the Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge. But let's just get in a quick update from Vasudha Venugopal first, who's been tracking all the finer developments and the insider details for us. Vasudha, we have now a reaction from BJP's Nishikant Dubey, who's jibed at the opposition after Jairam Ramesh's remarks.
Absolutely, Parmeshwar. I'm coming to you from right outside the Parliament. It's raining very heavily here, and it's going to be an interesting day inside the Parliament because we are hoping to get some answers, because Jagdeep Dhankhar's resignation as the Vice President actually poses a lot of questions that have to be answered. First of all, why did he do it on the first day of the Parliament? Remember that his office had put out an official statement that he's all set to travel to Jaipur on the 23rd. He was also scheduled to have a business advisory committee meeting today because the 4:30 meeting yesterday was not attended by people from the Treasury benches. So he did have a lot lined up for. In fact, just 11 days ago, he spoke about retiring on the 10th of August 2027 after completing the whole term of 5 years. 2 years are still to go for his term to get over. So why did he resign right now is very important. And Nishikant Dubey has talked about opposition also attacking him in the past. Remember, Jagdeep Dhankhar has the legacy of suspending maximum number of MPs. Some 169 MPs got suspended for what he called misconduct, for a parliamentarian during his tenure. That was almost 1.5 to 2 years ago. And then it was the opposition that moved motion against him, impeachment motion against him. That was to remove him from the post. But today the opposition is praising him and saying that the Prime Minister should speak to him and make him reconsider his resignation. So that is quite a twist of fate here, quite a twist of narratives here. But let me also tell you what happened yesterday, which actually set the ball rolling, which could have acted as a trigger, because Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar did speak about this motion to remove Justice Yashwant Verma, the motion that was submitted to him by opposition MPs, without really talking about the motion that the BJP MPs were talking about. This was in the Rajya Sabha, and that also led to a flurry of meetings, in the BJP leadership, with the Prime Minister himself meeting ministers, and Amit Shah, the Home Minister, meeting Jagdeep Dhankhar, Rajnath Singh holding his own meetings with ministers, and then all Rajya Sabha MPs were also asked to stay in town. They were asked to come and sign this motion, and this went on till late evening. And then there was a clarification that came from Jagdeep Dhankhar saying that a committee could be formed, constituting the Speaker and people from the Chairman's office to decide on the future of the impeachment process. So clearly a lot of clarifications there, counterclaims there, but we need to know the full truth of what really happened. Mr. Dhankhar, of course, has said that it was health reasons that prompted him to resign, but given that he had already scheduled meetings and events in the course of the next few days, it remains to be seen if health was the only concern. We are expecting an official statement from the government at the floor of the House in a few hours from now. 11 o'clock is when the Houses will convene, and that is when we expect to get some answers.
Thanks so much, Vasudha, as always, for joining us with the lowdown. Well, is this the beginning of a political churn? We have a reaction from Mallikarjun Kharge lined up for you. Listen in.
सर, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने रिजाइन किया है सर अपने स्वास्थ्य कारणों की वजह से।
इससे क्या कुछ हमारा लेना देना सरकार जाने और हो जाए, तो इसमें हमारा कोई कहने का मकसद ही नहीं है। ये उनकी इच्छा है और गवर्नमेंट की इच्छा है कि उनको स्वीकार करना नहीं करना, वो सब उनकी बात है। हमारा कोई इससे रास्ता नहीं।
My colleague Tanushka Datta has also been tracking the insider details for us. She joins us live from outside Mr. Dhankhar's residence at this point. Tanushka, what's the chatter? What are you picking up on? So far, the BJP leadership maintains complete silence on this sudden resignation.
Precisely, Parmeshwar, we're outside Jagdeep Dhankhar's residence at this moment after his resignation that has, come out quite suddenly. This is the 6th vice president that has resigned from his, out of his term. But we do understand that this is the only vice president that has resigned on grounds of medical advice. This is what, was mentioned in his resignation letter, that he is resigning with immediate effect out of medical advice. And we do understand that, earlier all of the vice presidents who have resigned have only been on account of the fact that they were contesting for presidential elections, and then they've gone on to become the president as well. But in this case, of course, this is sudden and this is unexpected, as speculation also is going around in terms of chatter, as you asked, with respect to Congress leaders and Congress members of the parliament at this point, talking about this in terms of what exactly happened. There are suspecting about that is this just about, his health, or there is more to this than what meets the eye at this point. Of course, we are yet to hear anything from the union government. We just, have, Gaurav Gogoi, member of parliament, has also taken to social media platform X and written about this, that, wishing good health to Mr. Dhankar, but also that if there is more to this, then the union government must let out a statement and that things must be done formally. They also question at this point that whether, the union government and the PMO had prior information with respect to this, as is done in due protocol, to ensure a smooth transition. Because at this point, we have a major senior position in our government vacant. We do know that for the time being, the position has been taken up by the deputy, vice president at this point, but still the elections and ensuring an entire smooth process of transition is what is at question right now. We do have silence from the BJP as well, while the Congress at this point is definitely, making noises with respect to raising questions on this unexpected and sudden resignation of the vice president. Back to you.
Tanushka, thanks so much for joining us with that update. Why has the BJP top brass, including Prime Minister Modi, JP Nadda and Amit Shah, not issued a basic statement of thanks or farewell? What is their silent signal? These questions remain unanswered at this point. Also, if this was a health-based decision, why didn't the party ask him to reconsider or offer a medical sabbatical? We are, of course, looking for all the answers. My colleague Aishwarya Jain is also with us with a quick update at the moment. Aishwarya, how does the opposition meanwhile reconcile its no confidence motion against Mr. Dhankar just a few months ago with today's praise? Is this being seen as strategic repositioning, or are people calling this opportunistic doublespeak?
Well, it is. Mallikarjun Kharge stated that the resignation that Jagdeep Dhankhar had submitted to President of India is a matter completely between the Vice President and the government, and they have nothing to do with it. But the political voices that have erupted since yesterday late night is that there is more to it, something political that is thinking within the government, and it is, a pressure tactics is something that many of the leaders have also called in. But certainly, the latest what we are getting in as far as the Bharatiya Janata Party camp is concerned, BJP President JP Nadda had stated that Kiran Rijiju and he, remember, this is a clarification on yesterday's 4:30 p.m. BAC meeting that have come in. As far as JP Nadda and Kiran Rijiju being absent in this particular meeting, JP Nadda stated that he and Kiran Rijiju could not attend 4:30 meeting called by the Honorable Vice President, as he was occupied with another important parliamentary engagement. Poor intimation regarding this was duly conveyed to the and prior to that, it was duly conveyed to the Vice President's office. L. Murugan represented the government as well. It was also stated by JP Nadda that when he said in the Rajya Sabha that only what he say will go on record, it was directed to the interrupting opposition MPs, not the chair. A clarification that has come in from the Vice President. Another update from the Parliament that we are getting is currently high-level meeting is underway at Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's chambers, in which S. Jaishankar, JP Nadda, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, and Kiran Rijiju, Arjun Ram Meghwal, all are present. Just before the second day of Monsoon session of Parliament is a high-level meeting that is still underway at Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's chambers.
Right. Crucial details. Aishwarya Jain is reporting there. A high-level meeting is currently underway at Mr. Rajnath Singh's chamber ahead of the second day of the monsoon session of Parliament. Meanwhile, Aishwarya, are reports of Mr. Dhankar expressing dissatisfaction with senior BJP ministers true? Have there been conversations where he allegedly questioned their leadership?
Well, the official resignation that has come out from the Vice President's office is citing the health reasons. Nothing has been stated more than that. He thanked, of course, the Prime Minister of our country, the Council of Ministers, for their constant support and the kind of, the way he ran the Vice President's office with the support of the Modi's, Council of Ministers. But certainly it is Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar who had been very vocal in the past about many different issues, bringing reforms in the parliamentary process as well. One of the very important things that had been, quoted as far as Jagdeep Dhankhar is concerned, the impact of the newly elected parliamentarians being sitting on a chair is something that he will be remembered for. Jagdeep Dhankhar had been very vocal and critic about the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. He had at several instances, whenever these differences have occurred, met the senior leadership of the opposition parties in his chambers, called them in as far as removing these differences are concerned. But certainly it was this very opposition who had brought in the motion for the removal of Vice President. But soon after that, there were differences that were kept aside. We have often seen Jagdeep Dhankhar meeting with Mallikarjun Kharge and senior leadership of the Congress party after that as well. But certainly it was all about the impeachment of Justice Verma. Yesterday, there were multiple rounds of meetings that went on in the parliament. It was Prime Minister who chaired the meeting. In Lok Sabha, it was almost 145 MPs from the opposition and treasury benches who signed that particular letter and submitted to the Lok Sabha Speaker. Rather, the same planning was done in the Rajya Sabha as well by the government. But before that, it was Rajya Sabha chairperson who announced from the chair that he has already received a signed letter of more than 50 MPs from the opposition camp from the chair, and he is bound to admit that. Certainly, that is one thing that the sources have told us that has miffed the government, that without informing the treasury benches, it is Jagdeep Dhankhar who had announced this from the chair. But Rajnath Singh, the defense minister, called all the Rajya Sabha MPs from the NDA faction to his chamber yesterday and got these, got this letter signed so that they can submit it to the Rajya Sabha chairperson. Whether this was the reason behind the resignation or something else, something that is speculation at this point in time. Many theories are going around. But remember, it is just the opposition voices that have been speaking. Nothing official has been stated either from the Vice President's office, apart from this resignation letter, or from the government itself.
Right. In fact, that remains the big question. Was this a voluntary resignation or a forced one masked as health-related? Meanwhile, Aishwarya, you mentioned that high-level meeting is currently underway at Rajnath Singh's chamber. If you could provide our viewers further details, who all are in attendance at the moment?
Well, this is a high-level meeting which is currently underway at Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's chambers in the Parliament, and what we've been told that apart from Rajnath Singh, S. Jaishankar, JP Nadda, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju and Arjun Ram Meghwal, Law Minister, is present. Certainly a strategy is being formed as to how government has to respond to the entire row that had erupted since yesterday after the resignation. Of course, many theories are going in. What will be the official word that can come in from the government, and how the government is planning ahead for the entire monsoon session of Parliament, because there are several issues that have been brought in by the opposition. One thing that had been cleared yesterday in the BSC of the Lok Sabha, that 16 hours time for the debate on Operation Sindoor will be given for next week. and probably more durations had been announced for different important bills as well. But Rajya Sabha, that BAC that met twice yesterday, that went inconclusive in nature, and therefore the reason after that 4:30 BAC Jagdeep Dhankhar had stated that they will again meet today at 1 p.m. to decide on the duration on the discussion on Operation Sindoor in the Rajya Sabha. But certainly, Bihar SIR is one of the major point of contention that can be seen in the parliament as the opposition parties, the India bloc, who is currently meeting at Mallikarjun Kharge's chambers, and the Congress MPs have also been called in. They will be forming strategy. There was a protest that was planned by the Congress outside the Makar Dwar regarding the Bihar SIR issue as well. So that could be one thing that could be point of contention. The government has clearly stated that this is under the constitution rules that election commission is conducting such a process in Bihar. Rather, the opposition camp had called it completely unconstitutional. They have stated that 4 to 5 crore voters in Bihar would be affected, and to form a strategy around that. Certainly, this important meeting is underway. Of course, discussions on Vice President resignation will definitely go on, but a high-level meeting is still underway at Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's chambers, where we have been told S. Jaishankar, J.P. Nadda, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Arjun Ram Meghwal, and Kiran Rijiju are present.
Well, thank you for giving us those crucial details about that high-level meeting that's currently underway in Rajnath Singh's chamber. Vasudha Venugopal is back with us from outside Parliament, where it's currently raining heavily. Vasudha, if you could take us through, why were senior ministers like Kiran Rijiju and J.P. Nadda absent from that meeting that was chaired by the Vice President on the very same day? Is it being seen as a snub, or was Mr. Dhankar already being seen as persona non grata and BJP's inner circle? Anything we're picking up on?
Well, that's right, Parmeshwar. What I understand is that we'll get a lot of answers once we get inside the parliament. And today, once the parliament convenes, which is in about 45 minutes from now, we'll get to know what really happened. What we know so far is that Health Minister J.P. Nadda has also clarified, he's also the leader of the House of the BJP, that he did not attend the BAC meeting that was called by the Vice President at 4:30 p.m. because he had prior engagements, and that was informed to Jagdeep Dhankhar before the meeting began. And this is because there was many speculations that were being raised as to what really happened yesterday. There was a BAC meeting that was BAC meeting, just for the context of our viewers, is the committee that decides the business that will be run in the parliament in each house as a BAC, and it is the BAC that is very powerful, and it decides how many hours will be allocated to every topic. For instance, yesterday it was decided that about 16 hours will be allocated for the Operation Sindoor discussion. Jagdeep Dhankhar, as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, had called for a meeting at 12:30 in the afternoon. That was inconclusive. Then he called for a meeting at 4:30, and that 4:30 meeting was not attended by J.P. Nadda or Kiran Rijiju, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister. And now they have basically said that it was because they had prior engagement. But like our reporters have also been talking about, and we know that till late evening yesterday, there was this process of Rajya Sabha MPs from the BJP signing on this motion, because Jagdeep Dhankhar had talked about the motion that was submitted by the opposition members. Judicial accountability is something that is very important for the BJP. It wants to also be seen as the party that is speaking for the people and against judicial corruption, and that was very clear. The fact that possibly the government was not kept in the loop also could have upset some leaders in the party. But remember that there is no official word from the government yet. The parliament session is on. There is protocol that's been put in place, so we will understand what really happened once the parliament convenes, the session convenes, the house convenes, and we'll get more details on as to what really happened. Although Jagdeep Dhankhar has said that health is the primary reason why he has resigned, the fact that he had put in place a schedule for the next 2-3 days. In fact, he has also talked about resigning, his tenure ending only in 2027, August 10th. He said that only 10 days ago, clearly means that there could have been some trigger, some flashpoint that could have led to this. What kind of back channel talks are on? How is the government going to look at this, and what lies ahead? Harivansh is the deputy chairperson. He's going to be performing the duties of the chairperson now. The vice president is also the ex-officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. But what happens to the Rajya Sabha elections? Jagdeep Dhankhar won against Margaret Alva, who was the opposition candidate for the vice presidential post. How is that election going to take place? What do rules say? Rules say that in the next 90 days they have to be done. All of that will unravel once the House convenes.
Right. The big question is, who benefits most from this removal? Who will fill the vacuum? We'll, of course, have further clarity as the House convenes. Meanwhile, Vasudha, the same opposition that has called Jagdeep Dhankhar partisan, unfit, also moved a no-confidence motion in December, is now calling him principled and dignified. Can you take us through what's changed in the last 6 months? Was it Mr. Dhankhar or the opposition's need for political capital?
Well, as a political reporter, I do see Mr. Dhankhar as a man with his own mind. So before becoming the vice president, he was also the governor of Bengal, in which, while he performed that role, it was very clear that he was in news almost every other day. He took on Mamata Banerjee's style of governance. He was amongst the first people to speak on pre-poll and post-poll violence. So clearly there was a lot of run-in between the Mamata Banerjee government and Jagdeep Dhankhar, with even both of them, even Mamata Banerjee blocking him on Twitter. But after he became the vice president, he has also issued a lot of statements against the judiciary. He in fact recently spoke on Supreme Court's landmark judgment asking president and governor to have a clear timeline of 3 months to approve bills so that governance in states is not held back. He has spoken on everything. He has spoken on separation of powers. He has spoken on oppositions. In fact, I remember the statement of his when he spoke against Rahul Gandhi, saying that there are some people who hold constitutional posts but who behave like enemies of the country. So that was also seen with a lot of controversy. But he is also one of the only vice president who has faced an impeachment motion by the opposition MPs. He has also suspended 169 MPs, which is also something that the country has never seen in the past. But in the last few days, he has also been seen as somebody who was okay with the opposition. In fact, yesterday he praised Mallikarjun Kharge a lot, not just wishing him for his birthday, but also saying that, he has been performing his duties really well. So clearly there was a lot of unpredictability about Mr. Dhankhar. The fact that he was a constitutional expert and the fact that he had a mind of his own also in some ways made a lot of people uncomfortable. And that could be one reason why he has had, in some ways, a very mixed legacy. And he has also been praising the RSS. I remember there was this one time when Lalji Suman, who's the MP from UP, he spoke about RSS, interfering in governance and institutional freedom. And Mr. Dhankhar has said that RSS has a constitutional right to do that. It is unquestionable. It has unquestionable integrity, and it is a very important social organization. And that also was not seen in good light by the opposition MPs, because as a person who holds a constitutional post, there were questions as to how could he talk like that. But really, multiple views there, but he could speak on everything and he would issue a statement on everything, and that probably also made a few people quite uncomfortable.
Vasudha, as always, it's a pleasure to hear your analysis. Thanks so much also for joining us.